Alright, here's a demonstration of my e-bike and all the little goodies I have on it. Done a lot of modifications. I have this little ham radio thing here, so I can talk to my ham radio buddies. Let's see if I can get a repeater to activate.
201817. Welcome to the N3S2G repeater. PL frequency is 131.8.
It also has an FM radio. Doesn't pick up the greatest in the house, but works pretty good, and it's nice because whenever it gets whenever I have a call come in on the ham radio, it shuts the radio off momentarily and lets me hear what's going on. So that's nifty. Here's my cell phone holder. This is for that free government phone, 200 minutes a month kind of thing. It's all beat up, it's old, it doesn't but I put that in here. Here was my smartphone holder. Okay Google, set a timer for 5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes, starting.
Very useful features. Of course, you can ask Google all kinds of sorts of things. Okay Google, show me my calendar.
Here are the events you requested. First up, calendar entry on July 30th at 9 a.m. The title is Terra.
All kinds of useful things for on the fly. But that's just an Android. Simple stuff there. Here's my power meter. Get her to focus. So it tells me how much power I'm using. Give it a little bit of juice. Picks off. That's useful. Tells me how many amp hours I use, so I know how much is left. Up here, this is what holds the camera, what I'm using right now, so I can't really show what it looks like in there, but just slides across and so I can record forward stuff. Down here is a little light holder I built. I printed on my 3D printer. It's a little bolt that screws down, holds it in place, so I can remove it and whatnot, because the stuff that came with it was kind of iffy, barely barely would stay straight or at the right angle I wanted it to. So I just made the holes the right size on my design to connect straight to this your standard reflector light, and bent it in the shape I want. So I took care of that. So all these parts are 3D printed, that all designed. Here's an old part from a long time ago for a microphone. It's kind of a fail. Back here I have my light because I couldn't find a good way to mount this. It goes on. Built a little platform and just glued it on. So I turn that on, gives me my lights. Makes it easy, it's accessible to push the button, because I had it attached here and I couldn't reach the button at all, and didn't have a real way to attach to a bar like this. That was money made for the back of the seat. So built that, glued that on with hot glue, and works real good. So that's that. Battery system, ghettified right now. Really ghettified. I'm supposed to have 2 of these polymer batteries, but one actually caught fire because I was kind of idiotic and newbie to how sensitive polymers are. Kind of had one of these, both of them in series, just sitting in a basket when I was testing her, bounced around like crazy. One lead came off and it started sparking. I tried putting it in to keep the power going, and I taped it down to hold it in place, and it seemed to work. And then put it on the charger and the whole thing just started swelling up. Glad I noticed it. I put it in a Pyrex glass, took it outside just in case, let it sit. Looked out the window 10 minutes later and the whole thing was engulfed in flames. So these gotta be gotta take good care of these and make sure they don't bounce around too much. This foam here. This is just temporary setup until I get my other one. I'm going to build a boxer, do a 3D print of a container with this foam to contain it, probably up on here somewhere. So these 2 lead acid 7 amp hour batteries I'm using to substitute for the 6S that I lost. So that way I can still get around. So they all have to be charged individually. I charge using parallel. The way the connectors work, they disconnect and I put it in parallel and charge it on my regular lead acid charger. So that's about it. Controller, 1000 watt controller, but I measure power levels at 1400 watts. It peaks at 29 amps or so. But whenever I'm up to speed, it usually maintains around 1000 watts, so I guess that's why it's called 1000 watts. Here's my crazy bundle. These wires are all messed up. I had to rewire them, and I've done so many experiments on it, took them apart and put them back together, and don't have really no good connectors, so I'm cheap. So I really should order new connectors. With the battery system, I have a BMS on the order, so I can make sure that these cells are properly balanced when I charge them and discharge them, and don't over discharge them, and that way it'll automatically shut off. So we'll be getting that in the mail. That's pretty much it. It's just a cheap $30 bike I picked up and turned into an e-bike. This one back here, the Mongoose, dual suspension, really nice. Got a 500 watt motor in the front there. Throttle here. I couldn't take this off and get it down in there yet. I just temporarily put it there. This is going to have a 10S battery pack on it, 4 amp hour for now, with a BMS as well. It's going to battery is a really long battery and thin, so it'll go right across here or up across here somewhere. So, and it's yellow, so it blends in nicely with the bike. So full suspension for nice cruising, comfortable ride, for like sidewalk riding. But this is the work in progress. Still gotta wait for the controller and the battery, and I gotta wait on the other battery for this to get them all up and running. But that's my e-bike setup for now.